Good morning, everyone. This is Tomali Haldar over here. Welcome to the classes of education. I am your geography teacher. If you remember, these are the processes: first weathering, then erosion, then deposition, then compaction, then cementation. And compaction and cementation together, they are called lithification. This is going to be a very elaborate one, but it will be very interesting. Classification of sedimentary rocks on the mode of formation. Mode of formation means वो कैसे form हो रहा है? How are they forming? Two categories: clastic sedimentary rocks, non-clastic sedimentary rocks. In clastic sedimentary rocks, what is happening? The igneous rocks, they are just breaking into smaller particles. Why? Because the forces of weathering or the agents of weathering and erosion, like wind, river, we call it agents of erosion, not weathering, sorry, agents of erosion. Why? Because wind हमेशा सिर्फ बह के वहां पे रुक नहीं जाएगा, वो उसको कैरी भी करेगा. And we know weathering वहीं पे होता है जहाँ पे रॉक टूटता है अपने ओरिजिनल प्लेस में. But erosion means also displacement of the broken particles. So in clastic sedimentary rocks, the rocks are formed because of the agents of erosion working on that igneous rock, like wind, river water, rainwater, ice, glacier, and thereby breaking it into sediments, where the sediments compact, cement, and then form a sedimentary rock. ठीक है, right? And that process is called, it is being mechanically formed. Mechanically formed कुछ और मतलब for example plant and animal के वजह से form नहीं हो रहा है, वो nature के मतलब breaking, just the breaking and the disintegration of the rocks because of the agents of erosion that is happening. That is why it is called, it is being mechanically formed. ठीक है. Now, in this clastic sedimentary rocks, did I talk about the deposition of plants and animals? No, I haven't talked about that, decaying of plants and animals. कुछ भी मैंने नहीं बोला है. तो इसलिए यहाँ पे जैसे मैंने कुछ भी बायोटिक एलिमेंट के बारे में नहीं बोला है, वो प्योरली एकदम इनऑर्गेनिक है. So your mechanically formed rocks are mostly inorganic in nature. Inorganic in nature. That means they are devoid of the plants and animals particle. Two categories are there under mechanically formed clastic sedimentary rocks: argillaceous and arenaceous rocks. Argillaceous rocks are those type of mechanically formed clastic sedimentary rocks. Argillaceous rocks are those types of mechanically formed clastic sedimentary rocks which contain huge amount of clay. जहाँ पे clay बहुत ज्यादा होता है. और आपको पता ही है कि हम like when we were small, we used to take clay, give it one shape, कुछ मूर्तियां बनाते हैं, और जब मूर्ति बन जाए तो वो एकदम ठोस बन जाएगा, उसमें पानी भी नहीं घुसेगा. So argillaceous rocks, they are very like not hard, they are compact in the sense they don't allow the water to enter easily. They will allow the water to enter easily, but they will not allow the water to pass through it even more. They can hold the water. Okay? So that is argillaceous rocks containing huge amount of clay. Whereas in arenaceous rocks, what is happening? These are the types of mechanically formed clastic sedimentary rocks because of the agents of erosion that contains huge amount of sand. जहाँ पे sand का proportion बहुत ज़्यादा है. And the classic example of arenaceous rock is sandstone. Sandstone is comprised of huge amount of sand. Okay, it's much easier, although it looks, it's a very broad classification, but it is not. Now, next one, non-clastic sedimentary rocks. These are those type of rocks which are not formed by the agents of erosion, but they are formed by some other processes. They are formed in two ways: either it is formed organically और इट इज फॉर्म्ड केमिकली. मैं केमिकली पेंट में पढ़ाती हूँ, ऑर्गेनिकली आपको इजीली समझ में आ जाएगा. ऑर्गेनिकली से पता ही चलता है कि वो इनऑर्गेनिक नहीं है, जहाँ पे और ऑर्गेनिकली मींस डिकेइंग ऑफ द प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स होना बनता ही है. ओके, ऑर्गेनिकली फॉर्म देयर आर अगेन टू टाइप्स: calcareous rocks, carbonaceous rocks. Calcareous rocks are those types of organically formed non-clastic sedimentary rocks which contain huge amount of calcium. ठीक है. Carbonaceous rocks are those type of non-clastic organically formed sedimentary rocks which contain huge amount of carbon. Calcareous rocks में क्या होता है? अगर हम मान लेते हैं marine environment. In marine environment, there are marine animals. When the animals are dying, their shells and skeletons are decomposing and decaying. The shells and skeletons contain calcium. तो वो जब calcium जम जाएगा, आपका एक rock form करेगा. वो होता है कोरल. कोरल आपका क्या है? Those are the underwater marine rocks, nothing but the sedimentary rocks or the calcareous rocks which contain huge amount of calcium because of the deposition of the dead decaying parts of the marine shells and skeletons of the animals, not plants, exclusively for animals, marine animals. Okay, carbonaceous rocks में क्या होता है? Naturally we see this on the surface of the earth only or deep inside the interior of the earth where there is a decaying of the plants and animals. Plants and animals का जब dead and decaying part जब मतलब decompose करेगा over a millions of years, it will give rise to the organic component like coal, petroleum, natural gas जिसे हम मतलब fossil fuel भी बोलते हैं. But here we are not considering petroleum and natural gas. One reason why, carbonaceous rock मतलब the rock which will contain huge amount of carbon. ठीक है, so the classic example is coal, right? So coal is a classic example of organically formed non-plastic sedimentary rock under carbonaceous. Why? Because here the coal is formed from the decaying parts of plants, which then gives rise to subsequently huge amount of the carbon content, thereby giving rise to different categories of coal, कोयला जिसे हम बोलते हैं. ठीक है, केमिकली फॉर्म में अभी आती हूँ. दिस इज अ लेक. लेक में भी तो सेडिमेंट्स डिपो है, ठीक है ना. This is a lake and these are the sediments that are there in a lake. Now the lake is open, it's not enclosed, and let's consider the daytime. So during the hot weather season, because of the intense evaporation, if the water level was still here, because of intense evaporation, it might decrease. Let's consider the second phenomena. The right hand side is the second phenomena. Sediments are still intact. Obviously, the water will evaporate. Sediment के ऊपर उठ के evaporate नहीं कर जाएगा, water evaporate करेगा, तो उसका स्तर भी कम हो जाएगा. Over a period of time, the water level will completely go down. So, if it completely goes down and if it vanishes, what remains? The sediments remains. So, give time to the sediments. If the sediments are the ones that are remaining behind, then they can slowly come together because of the existing atmospheric pressure working from the above. The gap between them will slowly reduce and they will slowly then get compacted. More or less, they are not that much compact like igneous rocks, but still, if I take in absolute sense, then they will try to compact because the water is no more there. Atmospheric pressure is working from the above, which I have indicated with orange color, and then they will form a type of a rock. Since this type of rock is formed because of the evaporation from the water that has changed the chemical composition of the rock, that is why it is called the chemically formed sedimentary type of rock. और आपका classic example say rock salt, gypsum. ठीक है? Okay. Now, if I ask you about the economic importance, sedimentary rocks जैसे sediment से तैयार होता है. So, will you use sedimentary rocks for your building material? Never, because they are very soft in comparison to the igneous rocks. अगर आपको sandstone दिया जाए और अगर आपको granite दिया जाए, किससे मदद लेके आप building construct करोगे? Obviously, with the help of the I was about to say sandstone. Obviously, आप लोग construct करोगे with the help of the granite because that is much more hard and compact in comparison to that of the sandstone or the rock salt or gypsum because they are very soft. But if I say like that is a disadvantage. What can be the advantage? Because in carbonaceous rocks, I'm getting huge amount of coal. कोयले की बहुत ज़्यादा demand है industries में, right? That is the thing. Now, the last category of the rock is the metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rocks are those type of rocks which are formed in certain places. Please look at the image that I have attached over here. Please look at the image that I have attached over here. अगर आपको फर्स्ट या सेकंड सेशन में मैंने पढ़ाया है डेफिनेटली, अगर आपको याद है मैंने कुछ बताया था आपको प्लेट टेक्टोनिक्स के बारे में. कॉन्टिनेंटल क्रस्ट है, कॉन्टिनेंट मान लो ये कॉन्टिनेंटल प्लेट है, ये ओशनिक प्लेट है, ये धक्का खा रहा है. तो द प्लेट्स आर ऑब्वियसली कंप्राइज्ड ऑफ द रॉक्स. इफ दे आर कोलाइडिंग, व्हाट कैन हैपन? कोलिजन की वजह से टू मच फ्रिक्शन, टू मच अमाउंट ऑफ हीट, टू मच अमाउंट ऑफ प्रेशर. हीट इज ऑब्वियसली इक्वल टू टेम्परेचर, more pressure. They will do what? They will alter the physical and the mostly the physical form of the rock. So metamorphic rock is nothing but what is associated with a change in the physical structure of the rock, owing to huge amount of plate tectonism. ठीक है? So मैं ये इमेज अभी पेंट में जाके आपको पढ़ाती हूँ. But let's talk about classification of metamorphic rocks on the basis of agency. Agency मतलब कौन कर रहा है ये काम? Agent. There are two categories: dynamic and thermal metamorphism. You can see from the diagram itself that these are the continental and the oceanic plates which are colliding, and what is happening? The rocks which I am giving in green color that are at the junction of this collision, they are getting altered. अभी आप लोग बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर मतलब कोलिजन करवाओगे दो चीज का, तो बीच में तो आपका हीट और प्रेशर तो ऑटोमेटिकली बढ़ ही जाएगा, राइट। सो व्हाट कैन हैपन, टू थिंग्स, दो चीज हो सकता है, डायनेमिक मेटामॉर्फिज्म हो सकता है। डायनेमिक मेटामॉर्फिज्म में क्या होता है, बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर, फॉल्ट मैं बाद में समझाऊंगी, अभी फॉल्ट पढ़ने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर की वजह से रॉक्स का फिजिकल फॉर्म ऑल्टर हो रहा है, रॉक का फिजिकल फॉर्म, रॉक का फॉर्म ऑल्टर हो रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ द इंटेंस अमाउंट ऑफ प्रेशर। ऐसा नहीं है कि हीट नहीं है, लेकिन डायनेमिक मेटामॉर्फिज्म में प्रेशर बहुत ज्यादा होता है। Whereas in the case of, यहाँ पे लिखा नहीं है मैं बोलती हूँ, in the case of thermal metamorphism आपका heat और temperature is the most driving factor. So in dynamic metamorphism the rocks are altering because of the pressure, and in the in the thermal metamorphism the rocks are associated with high amount of temperature. ठीक है? Now you will come across another thing called the classification of metamorphic rocks on the basis of its extent of influence. मतलब वो मेटामॉर्फिज्म की वजह से कितना दूर रॉक्स ऑल्टर होता है, छोटे जगह पे ऑल्टर हो रहा है या फिर बड़े जगह पे ऑल्टर हो रहा है। तो अगर मैं बोल रही हूँ कि छोटे जगह पे मतलब ऑल्टर हो रहा है, मैं ऑब्वियसली बोल सकती हूँ कि फोर्स उतना ज्यादा नहीं है, लेकिन वो बड़े जगह पे अगर ऑल्टर होता है तो मैं जरूर बोल सकती हूँ कि वो उसका इन्फ्लुएंस बहुत ज्यादा है। तो व्हेन आई यूज टू वर्ड्स regional and contact metamorphism. Contact metamorphism is that type of metamorphism where the rocks are altering over a smaller area. Regional metamorphism is that type of metamorphism where the rocks are altering over large area. तो मतलब regional metamorphism में क्या होता है, दो चीज काम करता है, because it's like incorporating a larger area, so there is both huge amount of pressure and the heat that is working, both. But in contact metamorphism, it is necessarily the heat that is the driving factor, because वो तो पास ही में तो चेंज कर रहा है, वो तो बहुत ज्यादा चेंज नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो थोड़ा हीट की वजह से भी रॉक चेंज हो सकता है, ठीक है ना। सो दिस इज द एग्जांपल, प्लीज ये ऑब्वियसली ये चार्ट पढ़ लेना, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, यू माइट बी आस्क्ड लाइक what is the sedimentary what is the original rock of the quartzite or what is the sedimentary form of quartzite, तो आपको ऑब्वियसली पता चल ही जाएगा कि quartzite is a metamorphic rock, उसका sandstone is the sedimentary rock, ठीक है। then what is the metamorphosed form of the limestone, marble is a metamorphosed form of limestone, or you can be asked what is the sedimentary form of marble, the answer will be limestone। मैं एक बार पिक्चर दिखा देती हूँ, शायद आपको समझ में आ जाए। और ये वाला जैसे मैंने बताया रीजनल और कॉन्टैक्ट, यही तो लिखा है कि कॉन्टैक्ट में मतलब सिर्फ कॉन्टैक्ट में आ रहा है तभी थोड़ा हीट आ जाएगा, तो हीट की वजह से जो ऑल्टरिंग होगा वो कॉन्टैक्ट मेटामॉर्फिज्म है। वेयरएज हीट प्रेशर दोनों चीज की वजह से जो लार्ज एरिया में ऑल्टर होगा उसे हम रीजनल मेटामॉर्फिज्म बोलते हैं, ठीक है। आई होप दिस इज क्लियर। अच्छा, वन मोर थिंग एंड दैट इज द लास्ट वन, let's wrap it up together that how everything is related with one another. Igneous rock is the first form rock of the earth surface, उससे तो बाकी सब रॉक्स आ रहे। आप ग्रीन एरोस को कंसीडर करो कि igneous rock obviously when the igneous rock is subjected to weathering and erosion, the sediments will form, sediments will deposit, there will be compaction, cementation, lithification, both compaction and cementation is called lithification, which will gradually give rise to sedimentary rock, right? Now what can happen in metamorphism, what is working, plate tectonics, right? So मान लो कि इस एरिया में igneous rock है और इस एरिया में आपका sedimentary rock है, right? तो ऐसा तो कुछ बात नहीं कि igneous rock ही सिर्फ plate tectonics में जाएगा, जहाँ पे sedimentary rocks है वो जगह भी तो plate tectonics में के चंगुल में आ सकता है। So let's say both these areas undergo plate tectonics. So both these areas will undergo heat and pressure. Both these areas will undergo regional, contact, dynamic, thermal metamorphism, thereby giving rise to metamorphic rock. So you can see from both the igneous and the sedimentary rocks, one yellow color is going, indicating the fact that there can be an instance that both the igneous and sedimentary rocks can get trapped under the process of plate tectonism. Owing to heat and pressure, there will be an altering of the rock, and it will ultimately give rise to metamorphic rock. Right? So from igneous rock, I'm getting sedimentary rock, right? And both from igneous and from the sedimentary rock, I'm getting the metamorphic rock. अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ है, metamorphic rock मान लो हो गया। अभी जहाँ पे metamorphic rock फॉर्म हुआ है वो जगह भी तो प्लेट टेक्टोनिक्स के चंगुल में आ सकता है। पहले मैंने जैसा क्या बताया कि igneous rock and sedimentary rock can come under plate tectonism, give rise to metamorphic rock. The metamorphic rock can also undergo plate tectonism. वो धक्का खा के हाई अमाउंट ऑफ हीट एंड प्रेशर भी हो सकता है। तो मान लो धक्का खाने के बाद एक टुकड़ा अर्थ का क्रस्ट एकदम नीचे चला गया, एकदम कोर ऑफ द अर्थ में चला गया, तो वो तो मेल्ट तो हो ही जाएगा। और फिर मेल्टिंग के बाद क्या होगा, सॉलिडिफिकेशन ऑफ मैग्मा होगा। सॉलिडिफिकेशन ऑफ मैग्मा की वजह से फिर क्या आ जाएगा, आपका इग्नियस रॉक्स आ जाएगा। सो फ्रॉम द मेटामॉर्फिक रॉक देयर इज अ मेल्टिंग, and melting will form magma and lava, which will subsequently solidify and will form the igneous rock. So it's not a chain, it's a cycle that is going on and it's dynamic, it's never stopping, because earth is dynamic in nature, is constantly forming, so the rocks are also constantly forming, thereby the name of this image is rock cycle. Okay, that is the end of this session. I hope you people have liked it. I know it was a very elaborate session, but it has to be, I cannot leave out any topic untouched. I tried to cover most of the portion of your NCERT by including certain details which I thought is important for you at this stage. Whether you are preparing for UPSC or for UGC NET, JRF, has to be everything in details. So I hope you have liked the session. Please revisit the sessions more, revise, take down the study materials in your copy. Don't just rely on the sessions. Take down the study materials in your copy. Your handwriting will help you to recapitulate even far more better than what I'm teaching right now. That's it. So I'm ending here. Thank you for today. Let's meet in the next session with a new topic. Thank you.